So as a case study, let's look at two different places. Let's look at India and let's look at Japan and what's going on there. So in this case, the reason that we chose India and Japan, we did it a little bit broader across Asia Pacific, but the reason that we chose India and Japan to highlight here is that there are different levels of maturity. Okay? They have different things that are going for them. Japan is very mature. They very much understand manufacturing. They've been doing it for a very long time. Okay? India is just coming up. They have their own strengths. They're seen as very strong in engineering, software development, and a few other things, but they're not nearly as developed as Japan is. Okay? But what we found out is that both of them are already starting to think about advanced pricing techniques. Okay, so if we think about Japan alone, and this is only because I know that there's going to be a question about this slide on the next slide, and I want to see who's actually paying attention here and who's awake yet. So if we start thinking about Japan, they have a focus on innovation. They're actually doing some engineering superiority. They really believe in the quality of engineering. High-end products, high quality over a cost function, and then global standard setting. So they are actually setting the standard for the way products should be developed globally. So, based on what I told you, if we start thinking about Japan, because I'm going to go a little bit deeper into each one of these, what's the pricing methods that we think for the semiconductor, which is the case study that I'm using, which is the most common pricing that they're going to be using? So, if we start thinking about it, right down here, market/competitor based is the most common for Japanese companies. That's the way that they have been doing most of their base for pricing. Okay? So what about the dynamics? What's actually feeding into this? Okay, so for their product attributes, very high quality products. And in many cases, they'll work with their organizations, their customers, to be able to say, how can we manufacture our products to be able to make you manufacture the rest of your product line cheaper? The customer support that they offer is very, very high quality, very fast turnaround. They allow you to be able to have stable supply. They're very predictable. In addition to that, they start to add additional services. It's not just about the product anymore. Okay? They're adding engineering services. Okay? How can we actually help work with you to engineer a product? I know that you came and you asked us for this specific product. But is that really what you're trying to get to? What's the end goal? How can we work with you to be able to manufacture a product maybe even better than you thought you were looking for in the first place? And what this has allowed them to be able to do is that there's, and what we found the success that they've been able to have, is a lot of the same kind of key success period, or theories that Garth talked about. They have a very well-aligned organization. They have processes that are allowing them to be able to integrate all of these pieces to be able to have an overall solution for the customers rather than only individual product offerings. Okay? And one of the key areas of that is allows them to be able to segment their customer base. They know that there's a portion of their customers that are purely interested in an individual widget or an individual product, an individual high-quality item. And that's fine, and they'll provide a consistent measure of quality and pricing for those customers. But they also know there's a different set of customers that are then looking for a new set of way to work with their manufacturing partners. Okay? Ones that are price differentiated. So, in India, it's a little bit different. They have, although they're known for their outsourcing and their software capabilities, they have a number of other engineering capabilities that they're starting to deliver to the customer along with their product. Again, they're thinking about value-added services that they can deliver with their individual product. So it's no longer just about the product. They have a level of commoditization that's very high, similar to what's going on in China. A lot of the products that they're actually manufacturing, as you would suspect, are going to be commodity products. Why? Because a lot of companies are actually moving into China as a way to make sure, or I'm sorry, India, as a way to make sure that they don't have all of their manufacturing here in China. Okay, so they're differentiating along with it. At the same time, there's some things that are going on for China. China is no longer the lowest cost manufacturer. It's no longer the lowest cost labor rates. Lowest cost labor rates are in other parts of the world, in Mexico, for instance. It's lower labor rates. And the regulatory environment has also been impacting India as well. They have a Ministry of Information Technology. It's created special incentive packages to be able to get companies to move into India, to be able to manufacture specific types of products, to be able to provide specific types of services. Okay? So, the industry attributes overall for India: they have an R&D expertise, they have high quality products, and they've manufactured mostly for domestic consumption, although there's some export as well, and very low cost. There's some changes that need to occur. They're no longer, as I mentioned, the lowest cost country for manufacturing. Mexico and India are now lower cost. In addition to that, the rates in China, the labor rates in China, are increasing at a rate that's faster than those other countries. Southeast Asia is becoming more popular due to not only lower cost, but stricter IP rights and some of the lower political risk that's occurring. What's that mean? That means that there's an opportunity for China. That means that we need to start thinking about how it's going to be involved, how companies can start taking that added responsibility, that added opportunity of doing their own strategic planning, of being able to create differentiation in the market. The manufacturing is much more mature now. The focus is going much more from commodity and low cost into quality, and your labor force is becoming more skilled. Okay, so we take all of those opportunities, all those capabilities that are being delivered, and we start thinking about the pricing, how that might translate. Cost plus is no longer really probably the most robust way to be able to do pricing. Okay? Again, although it's fast, and although there might be some segments where cost plus still makes sense, if we start thinking about an entire portfolio of products, cost plus is likely not going to make sense for the entire portfolio of products. There's an increase in export lessons, and again, as we start thinking about moving away from just relationships into what makes sense from the business side. And then finally, the models will need to change because they need to be competitive against domestic and foreign competitors, and they must improve from the easiest, something like cost plus, to the most effective pricing. Okay, how do we start to actually evolve pricing, make it more valuable?